Hello! Hi! Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, hasn't it? I've done a video kind of similar to this topic before, which was more focusing on lip syncing in K-pop, but now I want to focus on the use of Autotune. The main topics of this video, and also the reasons why I wanted to do this video, seen a lot of people throw the word Autotune around everywhere in K-pop comments, and a lot of the time people kind of act like they know what they're talking about and they're professionals on the subject. Fans or maybe antis kind of use the word Autotune or say, well, this artist isn't talented because they use Autotune quite a lot in the K-pop community. A lot of people think of it as that it's like the one and all fix for your voice and makes you sound incredible, which is not true. Another thing is the massive increase in live tuning or even tuned pre-recordings for stage performances. I've noticed this isn't just a K-pop thing, it is a global thing, but in K-pop where performances are very important, I feel like you can see the increase in its use. People don't really realize them and they kind of hold false impressions of what a person's voice sounds like live. The last main topic I really want to speak about in this video is BTS's new take on their music, use of Autotune, which is in a stylistic way. However, before we get into the video completely, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Rosetta Stone. I feel like many of you already know what Rosetta Stone is. I remember when I was like really young, I used to see Rosetta Stone everywhere and I used to hear people talk about Rosetta Stone all the time. Rosetta Stone is a language learning website or application that you can get on your iPhone, App Store, or on Google Play for Android. Their whole mission statement and the whole thing about Rosetta Stone is that they're helping you learn languages anytime, anywhere, whenever you really want to, which honestly helps you learn a language a lot quicker. Anytime you have spare time, just take a 10 to 15 minute lesson, you've done something which can help you learn that language. One thing I really like about Rosetta Stone is that it's different from a traditional approach to learning languages. They focus more on the way that you learn language as a child. For example, connecting words and sounds with pictures, which makes it a lot more interactive and fun. You're not just kind of sitting at a textbook and then writing out the same grammar, the same sentences. It stimulates your brain. You absorb information quicker using that way. Rosetta Stone also has something that's really helpful for new language learners, which is their True Accent feature. True Accent is a speech recognition software which can give you instant feedback on your pronunciation. And this is great for people who don't have complete access to people of that native language. It is a great feature to use because it can help you get better at your accent and pronunciation before you actually speak to someone of that language. I know all of you here are K-pop fans. A lot of you ask me for my covers, like how do I memorize Korean or how do I pronounce in Korean as a non-Korean speaker? I say Rosetta Stone is a great way to do this. If I picked up Rosetta Stone during that time, when I first started covers, I think my first covers would have sounded a lot better with the pronunciation. And even if you are already learning a language, I feel like Rosetta Stone can be a great tool that you can use to just boost the knowledge of the language you are already learning. I have been using Rosetta Stone for the past week. One of the great things I like about the Rosetta Stone app is its interface. It's really easy to navigate and also start lessons. You can actually download them to your device, so then you can click on it and do it anytime, even when you don't have internet. With Rosetta Stone Lifetime, you have unlimited access to all the language libraries for life. You can learn any language that's on the app. So if you have been wanting to learn a language or you are already doing it as your New Year's resolution, then click the link in the description or the one that's in the pinned comment. They are the same link, but they're both there, so it's easy for you to access if you don't go in my description. And if you are doing it, please tag me on Instagram because I would love to see how you're doing with it. Anyways, I feel like we have to put this at the beginning. This is the first point we have to make, which is, what is Autotune? I feel a lot of people are misled and don't understand what it is. I also saw in a video someone said, you see that black cloth in front of her face and that thing, that's an auto-tuner. She can't sing. And I was like, that's a pop shield and that's a microphone. That's not an auto-tuner. There is no such thing as an auto-tuner. Pitch correction is a software on your computer. Autotune is actually a software. It's the name of a software. So basically, it's a pitch correction software. All it does really is it corrects your pitch. If some notes are bad here and there, it'll either smooth out the note that you sang or make a note less sharp or make a note less flat. It basically snaps whatever note you're singing in to the nearest note of the set key. So you have to set the key on Autotune, because if you don't, then it'll just snap you to any note that you're near. So basically what it does is it tracks your pitch and tunes you to the nearest note in the musical scale that you set. When this was introduced in the 90s, it took off quite a lot, but it wasn't really that massive and was only used in some cases. But now it is paramount in vocal production, like completely paramount. I can guarantee you that 99% of pop artists use Autotune, and 4 people come for me and be like, Ariana Grande sounds better live than she does in things. She doesn't use Autotune. Ariana Grande does use Autotune. Hers also is kind of more of an effect kind of thing because she does have extremely perfected pitch when she does sing. Pitch correction just really works out the kinks and makes you sound perfect. Another software that is as widely used as Autotune but is less known to the general public is called Melodyne. It's used by every vocal producer, mixer, sound engineer. It's a pitch correction software that's in a more of a graphical mode, a lot more tools to change and manipulate the pitch of someone's voice. This leads to a more realistic sounding tuned vocal. People will always use Melodyne and not Autotune first. Autotune also does have a graphical mode where you can fine time and fine tune, but it's not as nearly as good as Melodyne's. It's harder to use, as well as it can still lead to more of a robotic sounding effect. A lot of people actually use them both together. So for example, they will do some pitch correction in Melodyne and fine timing and make it sound good, but then they'll put Autotune on the auto function on top of the Melodyne vocals to just make everything sound very smooth and very perfect. When people comment about Autotune, most people see it as the obvious use, for example, like Travis Scott. Those uses of Autotune are stylistic choices, but because they are so obvious, that's what most people think. Anything sounds like that, then that means that they have used pitch correction, but if it doesn't, then they haven't. A lot of the time, see this as a way to criticize an artist if they use Autotune, or kind of say they can't sing, is a bit stupid. Especially in K-pop, fans do like to criticize groups or other K-pop artists. Pitch correction as an insult, that Autotune does all the work. There are a couple of problems with these statements and these comments that I have seen in videos before. First of all, Autotune can't fix everything in a voice. Only thing Autotune and pitch correction can do, only correct pitch. Autotune can't fix tone, technique, emotion, delivery of the lines. If you have a bad technique and you have an underdeveloped tone, you have no emotion in your singing, even when you add Autotune on top of it, you can still hear it. Someone will still sound not that great even when they have tuning on, if they aren't an already good or proficient singer. Also, while pitch correction can correct pitch to a very good standard, fine tuning can only do so much before it starts to sound very unnatural and that classic Autotune effect. Singers making songs, if they are going for a more natural sound, they will spend a lot of time in the studio trying to get almost perfect on that note, or they will and they just want to work out some kinks here and there. If you are 3 notes below the pitch, then it is going to sound unnatural when you push it up those 3 notes. Or if you are off key, you can correct the key, but it doesn't sound 100% natural. When notes are shifted a lot and the properties are changed, it loses those properties. For example, the formants shift when you change the pitch of a note. If you increase the formants in a voice, it can make you sound like a chipmunk while staying on the same pitch. A lot of pitch correction softwares have a thing to tackle this, which is format correction. This makes it sound a bit more natural when you shift the notes up maybe 1 or 2 semitones. Any more than this, it can sound quite bad. But when people say idols are untalented, or that a lot of people can't sing because they don't sound exactly the same live, or that they go flat on one note, to me is a bit stupid. Most people who watch live shows of idols notice that they don't sound the same live. Most of the time there is intense choreography. Their live vocals will suffer because of this. Having your body jerking around as you're also trying to sing, and it is very hard to overcome. Let's get into live tuning. So live tuning is exactly what it sounds like. Someone who has auto-tune on their vocals for live shows tunes you to the nearest note that you sing in the musical scale. Many artists use this. Mostly it's seen in completely live shows, for example, such as concerts. But still, there is quite a taboo in using live tuning in concerts. For example, if you want to hear of something that's tuned live, a recent SM concert, which had like Psycho on it, which was Wendy, and it was so good to see Wendy dancing again. I know that this was pre-recorded beforehand, but this is kind of what it sounds like. If I'm completely honest about this performance, what I think they really did is that they had dynamic mic and they stood there and sang their lines and it was slightly tuned so it would still keep the essence of it sounding live. There is another use of live tuning, but you can kind of argue it is a bit less live and also more thorough, which is fine-tuning the vocals of a performance before it reaches audiences at home. So, for example, shows such as King of the Mars Singer, Immortal Songs, Sketchbook. All of these shows, the live audience hears an untuned performance, so just a completely live performance that you would if someone just grabbed a mic and started singing through it. After the show has been recorded and before it is posted on TV and before people see it, the people behind the show actually tune the vocals of the artist to make them sound absolutely perfect. I've noticed that a lot of fans comment on these shows as proof of idols sounding immensely perfect and this is what they do sound like. However, that is just not true, and it is okay that that is not true. The way you can kind of tell the difference, you can hear the pitch correction on their voices, but another way to kind of show is the inconsistency of them on other shows. So ones that you can tell that they are actually singing completely live on, you can hear the inconsistencies of what they sound on, like for example Sketchbook to what they sound on like Music Bank.
You in planet used to be champion. 금메달까지 딴 1등 선수였어. 사실 너 저먼 별 나라였었어. You in planet used to be champion.
She sounds great. She still sounds great without pitch correction. I prefer it because it adds another element to the performance. It kind of adds a bit of emotion to it because you don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. You don't want to hear the same tuned thing again and again and again. Dingo, where they do like killing voice and stuff, those are also tuned after the fact to sound perfect, which I just kind of don't see the point of.
The stars shining bright into my life. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I think that was very obvious with the pitch correction, and what I think happened here is that she takes off one cover of the headphone. I think that she realized that she was sounding off, or she just started it wrong and it wasn't right. She took it off to hear herself, and you can obviously tell the pitch correction is slightly more natural after she takes it off and she can fully hear herself. Then making it sound this perfect just kind of takes away from the performance. Jessie is such an incredible performer, and we all know she is a good singer. She has such a unique, husky, amazing voice. Like, you can just watch her on any other shows when she does it live and she sounds incredible. Tuning might make you sound perfectly on pitch, but then it gets rid of like the emotion of the take, or the intonation of the take might not sound as good because it gets rid of properties such as vibrato. It might enhance some things, but as it enhances something, it has a con where it makes something sound a bit worse, which is annoying, but that's what happens when you use pitch correction. Why do idols and their companies do this? This is just because of how music sounds today. There isn't really a way to replicate the sound that is created through copious amounts of editing. Tuning live or adding tuned pre-recordings can just overcome those hurdles a bit and just make a performance sound better. I think also because these companies are having a profit incentive, they want their idols to sound perfect, and they want everyone to think that we have this technology now to use Autotune live or to use tuned pre-recordings, and a lot of people, the general consumers, won't really pick up on it and just think that they sound like that all the time because of training. I feel like this is done to prevent little mess ups or pitch inconsistencies from being shown. It's also to kind of prevent criticism from fans as a whole. As fans of K-pop listen to studio versions of songs, they hope to hear kind of the exact same thing live, and because of the advancement of music production, fans have very high expectations of what their idols should sound like. I feel like we as a whole need to lower our expectations and just kind of sit back and enjoy the performance. Playback is heavily used in K-pop. It's because of the dancing, the amount of backing vocals and harmonies. They can't recreate that on stage. I don't think that live tuning is innately this horrible bad thing that should never be used ever. If someone is sick, why not do that? It's just going to be a lot easier. It's going to save their voice and you don't have to use the same studio recording. Stylistic choices, very auto-tuney sounds like in some BTS songs. If they want to use that live to recreate the kind of style choice that they use in their songs, then why not? I feel like people just need to kind of understand that it isn't what they actually sound like. A lot of people have DM'd me about this or tweeted at me. There has been like a lot of talk, not a lot, some talk, let's say that, because I haven't seen like everyone talk about it, but there has been some talk over BTS BTS's music, or in particular, their new kind of take on vocal production. A lot of people don't like this, and a lot of people are open to it and enjoy it. People use BTS's use of autotune as a way to insult them as artists, or be like, their vocals have declined so much that they have to use this much autotune, which is clearly not true. Every K-pop group uses autotune. It is the music production adding autotune onto their vocals for their studio recordings, but it isn't up to them. Also, even if it was up to them, I think they would add it on because it just makes something sound a lot more professional. The only difference is that BTS uses it in a more obvious way. We know that there is a very good vocal line in BTS. It's a stylistic choice. It's the style of music that they are going for. The stylistic choice kind of means that it's an added element of the music. It's not like a hidden or taboo thing that a lot of people think pitch correction is, to enhance the song or the listener's experience, basically. So if you have a very robotic song, but no pitch correction at any point, it would just sound a bit weird. If you have kind of a trap hip-hop song with no pitch correction in that genre, it might also sound quite weird and not fitting. Genres that pitch correction used very, very lightly work as kind of things like ballads, OSTs. Also, to come for BTS for something like this, it doesn't make sense to me because it is very reminiscent of what a lot of American pop music sounds like. Kind of more Western pop music such as Latin American pop. If you listen to a lot of American songs, for example, kind of use autotune on top of Melodyne and ramped up the retune speed, which is the speed at which it snaps your vocals to the pitch. That's the kind of sound that people are going for. I feel like a lot of people now, if they're gonna use autotune, they're just gonna make it a bit obvious. Ariana Grande's music has actually quite a lot of tuning on it. Some of her songs which are more hip-hop based. Selena Gomez. You look at most artists today, they do have this kind of style similar to BTS's. I think it's very trendy right now to have more snappy note transitions. So that means instead of the note kind of sliding up like it naturally would, it kind of goes more like that. So it's snappier. If you don't like the obvious autotune sound, then just don't listen to it. And I think because BTS is one of those artists who consistently use that classic autotune sound on their songs, K-pop fans have been specifically kind of jumping to maybe sometimes attack them for it, or maybe just talk about how they hate it. I understand why some people think it is a bit overdone because a lot of their songs do have it. A lot of their recent releases do have it, but I think it might be just more of the kind of direction they're going in now, and you don't know. Maybe next year it's not going to be as trendy. As I've said, it is more of a stylistic choice and not of a way to be like, oh, they can't sing. It's just a kind of direction that they are going in with their music. Oh, wait, one small thing I really do want to mention is that K-pop idols are performers. Their main job is to perform, to gain fans, to entertain people. It is very hard for someone to be perfect at singing while also be perfect at dancing at the same time. Someone might be greater at one than the other. Some might be great at both, like Beyonce. She has the best of both worlds here. The big people in pop, they might not be the technically best singers out there. They might not even have the most amazing voices. Something that they do have is the look, a good tone for singing, good recording delivery, which is obviously used in this situation because they are performers, they are entertainers, they are here to entertain you. Because if I'm completely honest, if you try and make a classical singer sing a pop song the way that they have classically been trained, it does not sound that good in a recording studio at all. If you look at someone like Park Bom, if she was extremely classically trained, her voice wouldn't be as unique as it is now, if you know what I mean. Her voice sounds great on records, great on recordings. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about autotune. I would also like to thank Rosetta Stone again for sponsoring this video. Remember, there is a link in my description and on my pinned comment, so please click it if you want to create a Rosetta Stone account and get started with learning languages. Thank you for watching. Bye. Bye.